morning, this is Brian. Today is Monday, April 26, 2021. I'm in Powder Canyon, Scabarram Regional Park, near Hacienda Heights, Roland Heights, and La Habra Heights. And I want to present a Spotlight on Shrubs episode today. This will be the second episode I recorded today. First episode was on purple sage, Salvia leucophila. That was my first episode. Now today, my second episode is going to focus on California Encelia, Encelia californica, aka California Brittlebush. So we are in a pocket of very sun-exposed coastal sage scrub here. We're at about 1,100 feet in elevation, and we are just near the LA basin. So being at a low elevation spot like this in coastal sage scrub and in disturbed sites, you could find this California Encelia. It is a frequent to very common and abundant member of our coastal sage scrub community. Now its form is more of a subshrub. In other words, it's more woody on the bottom towards the base of the plant, and then less woody and more brittle towards the middle and higher portions of it. And there you get part of the reason for the other common name, California Brittlebush. So in areas that have very good oceanic atmosphere influence, in other words, places that get the marine layer, the low clouds, the marine air, and a little extra humidity boost from the ocean that are mostly below 3,000 feet, you'd be likely to find this beautiful, strikingly beautiful plant that is indeed in the sunflower family, the Asteraceae. So California Brittlebush, or California Encelia, is one of those plants common in the coastal sage scrub that are summer deciduous, meaning they shed their leaves during the dry portion of the year, which usually comes in late spring and early summer after the plants have flowered and set seed. Right now, I'm lucky to catch them in the middle of bloom, which is the best time to catch these plants, because all these yellow flowers, all these yellow flower heads, it's all California Encelia over here. Further up, you got black mustard. But it is closely related to the genus Helianthus, which is the sunflower. Helianthus means sunflower in Greek. Well, these are in the genus Encelia, named after some, I think some German scientist or something, Encel or something. That's where the genus comes from, I believe. So you got these awesome bee plants here. The bees, and here we got Apis mellifera, the European honeybee. The bees and other pollinating insects love this plant. It's a very good pollen plant. And you can see right here, we got this European honeybee pollinating it right now, going from flower head to flower head. And yes, being that this is in the sunflower family, the flowers, what looks like an actual flower is actually a flower head. So any plant in the sunflower family has a composite flower head. So what looks like one individual flower is a head of several flowers. And you can see here, see, you got the little brown center here. These little tiny yellow, orange yellow spots, those are disc florets. In other words, they're the disc flowers. The ones that look like regular petals, those are ray florets. So this plant has a radiate flower head. So those petals look like petals are actually the corollas of the ray florets. And again, like I said, this plant is summer deciduous, meaning pretty soon these plants are going to be shedding their leaves and going dormant now that we're in late April going into May. because these plants are deciduous. And you can see it's already starting to happen a little bit here. You can see these leaves are starting to yellow off and starting to fall, but yet we still have enough tissue, probably enough moisture in the plants to keep them going for a little while. So they're known to have these kind of deltoid-like leaves, sometimes kind of narrow. On lusher branches, they tend to be almost triangular. They're kind of shaped like miniature sunflower leaves. You ever seen those big sunflowers with the huge triangular shaped leaves? Kind of similar. Kind of shows the relationship of the sunflower group. And they're alternately arranged on the stem, so they alternate 1, 2, zigzag, zigzag up the stem. So probably in about a month or two, these plants are going to look very dry and probably look like a mass of twigs. That's, you know, that's to be expected because they are drought deciduous plants. And again, they're not extremely strongly woody plants either, like I had briefly mentioned, but with age, sometimes they can get these kind of woody trunks on them. They kind of have a grayish furrowed bark. I'm trying to see if I could find an example of an older Encelia. I'm trying to see if I could find one. Like right here. With age, the plants can get these little grayish gnarly trunks on them, like a lot of members of the Asteraceae, a lot of the subshrub plants with the woody bases. And then of course the tops are much more brittle and very easy to break. That's another reason why they call it Brittlebush. There's another few species here in Southern California with which California Encelia or California Brittlebush may be confused. You got Encelia farinosa, Incienso, or Brittlebush, desert Brittlebush. You got Encelia actini, Acton Encelia, and you get a few others like Encelia frutescens. I believe Encelia frutescens is rayless. I don't know if it has ray flowers, but the one you're most likely to see Encelia californica with is Encelia farinosa, because Encelia farinosa is native mostly to the deserts, to the desert regions here in Southern California, desert and pinny and juniper woodlands. So you're probably not going to see them too much together, but they have become naturalized on the coastal side of the mountains as well, especially in Riverside County near the Temescal Valley and near Lake Elsinore. You'll see Brittlebush a lot there. Box Springs Mountain Park hosts a lot of desert Brittlebush. But the main difference is the California Encelia, or California Brittlebush, it has yellow ray flowers, and again, yellow ray flowers and brown disc florets. Encelia farinosa tends to have yellow ray and yellow disc florets. And the leaves are more of a lightish grayish green on Encelia farinosa. Whereas Encelia californica is more of a medium, light to medium green, more of a consistent green. So here, walking along this trail, prime habitat for this plant to grow. You'll find it mixed in with, again, California sagebrush, black sage, purple sage, white sage, western poison oak. Then we've got pseudonephalium, the everlasting or cudweed. We call them everlastings. And again, they tend to prefer these south-facing slopes, so they're very well adapted with their drought deciduous habit to survive on south-facing slopes, like where we are right now. But again, you can find them mixing in the woodlands sometimes. You'll see them at the edge of woodlands and in disturbed sites. They are very effective colonizers. Very effective colonizers of disturbed sites. So sometimes if you live near a wild area or an area where there's some native habitat, you might end up finding them germinating in your yard, because the seeds carry. The seeds are like really miniature, tiny, itty-bitty sunflowers. They're like the little achenes. They're not really super large, so it's kind of hard to recognize them as sunflower seeds, but they definitely are if you really look at them carefully enough. So, California Encelia. It's, like I said, it's more attuned to living in areas with coastal marine air influence, as opposed to the other Encelias, which tend to prefer more interior climates. So, when you're out hiking in the springtime, sometimes these plants will start blooming as soon as December or January. If the plants get a really fast head start, these plants can start blooming even before the calendar year's over. So they might start blooming a couple weeks after the rainy season starts. And then sometimes they'll be blooming as late as May or June. So when you're out hiking in coastal sage scrub, keep a lookout for this beautiful plant. Now, there's one other plant this could be potentially confused with. It's a plant I have never personally encountered, but would be pretty confident in recognizing it if I saw it. Would be canyon sunflower, Venegacea carpacioides. It also has a beautiful yellow flower, but the leaves are much larger and the plant is even less woody. It's even more of a subshrub. But the leaves, I think, are much larger on Venegacea. Like I said, I've never seen that plant yet. I hope to, but I hope you enjoy this episode of Spotlight on Shrubs. Beautiful California bush sunflower, California Encelia, California Brittlebush. Thanks for watching my episode on Spotlight on Shrubs. I hope you find it helpful in identifying these plants. Here's one before it flowers. So keep a lookout for California Encelia on your next hike. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next episode, Spotlight on Shrubs.